Have you ever heard the saying, possession is nine-tenths of the law? It's a phrase we toss around, but what does it really mean in practice? Today, we're diving into a classic story that explores this very idea, along with themes of justice, power, and a healthy dose of caution. It's the tale of the rabbit, the weasel, and the cat. Our story begins on a beautiful, sunny day. A plump, happy rabbit decides it's the perfect afternoon for a special treat. His favorite patch of sweet, tender clover is calling his name. In his excitement to get to his delicious dinner, he bounds out of his cozy burrow, completely forgetting one crucial detail: to latch his front door. It's a small mistake, one any of us could make when we're in a hurry. But as we'll soon see, small oversights can sometimes lead to very big problems. While our rabbit was happily munching on clover, completely unaware, another creature was on the move. A sly, opportunistic weasel happened to be slinking through the neighborhood. As he passed the rabbit's home, he noticed the door was slightly ajar. Curiosity piqued, the weasel peeked inside. What he saw was a perfect, ready-made home, warm, safe, and completely empty. Without a second thought, the weasel slipped inside, explored every nook and cranny, and decided this was the perfect new place for him. He made himself comfortable, as if he had lived there his entire life. After a while, the rabbit, with a full belly and a contented heart, hopped his way back home. He was looking forward to a relaxing evening in his own familiar burrow, but as he approached, he saw something strange. A pointy, twitching nose was sticking out of his very own doorway, sniffing the air. It was the weasel, looking as smug as could be. The rabbit stopped dead in his tracks. Confusion turned to outrage. This was his home. For a creature as mild-mannered as a rabbit, he was absolutely furious. "Excuse me," the rabbit said, trying to keep his voice steady but firm. "You're in my house. I'd appreciate it if you would leave immediately." The weasel just blinked slowly. He yawned, stretched, and replied, "Your house? It seems like my house now. I found it empty, and I've moved in. It suits me quite well, thank you." The rabbit couldn't believe his ears. He explained that he had built the burrow, that all his belongings were inside, that he had just stepped out for dinner. But the weasel wouldn't budge. He argued that an empty, unlocked home was fair game. He was settled in, and he had no intention of leaving. The argument grew louder and louder. The rabbit insisted on his rights as the owner. The weasel insisted on his rights as the current occupant. Their voices carried through the woods, attracting the attention of other animals. Soon, a small crowd had gathered to watch the dispute. Everyone had an opinion, but no one knew how to solve the problem. The rabbit was getting more and more distressed, and the weasel was getting more and more arrogant. It seemed like they were at a complete standstill. Neither one was willing to give an inch. Just then, a new figure appeared on the scene. It was a wise old cat, known throughout the forest for her calm demeanor and thoughtful gaze. She walked slowly toward the bickering pair, her movements graceful and deliberate. "What seems to be the trouble here?" she asked in a soft, gentle voice. The rabbit and the weasel both started talking at once, each trying to tell their side of the story. The cat listened patiently, her head tilted to one side. "I see," she said, when they had both finished their frantic explanations. "This is indeed a complex legal matter, but I believe I can help you settle it. I have a great deal of experience in matters of property and justice." The rabbit felt a surge of hope. Finally, someone who could see reason and restore his home to him. The weasel, confident in his own cleverness, also agreed. He figured he could easily outsmart a sleepy old cat. "However," the cat continued, squinting her eyes, "my hearing isn't what it used to be. Old age, you know. For me to give a fair judgment, I need to hear all the facts very clearly. Could you both come a little closer? Come right up to me and speak directly into my ears, one at a time, so I don't miss a single detail." This seemed like a perfectly reasonable request. The rabbit, desperate to be heard, and the weasel, overconfident in his position, didn't hesitate. They both leaned in close, putting their faces right next to the cat's ears, ready to plead their cases one last time. And in that instant, everything changed. With a speed that betrayed her sleepy appearance, the cat's paws shot out. One clawed paw pinned the rabbit, and the other pinned the weasel. Before they even knew what was happening, they were both trapped. The wise old judge had revealed her true nature. There was a moment of stunned silence, and then, well, the dispute was over, permanently. The cat had them both, and she wasn't interested in legal arguments anymore. as she settled down to enjoy her own unexpected dinner. One thing was certain. No one could deny that the disagreement between the rabbit and the weasel had been definitively settled. So what's the takeaway from this rather grim little story? The final line of the fable says it all. The strong are apt to settle questions to their own advantage. It is a stark reminder that in a world without clear rules or an impartial authority to enforce them, might often makes right. The cat wasn't interested in justice or fairness. She saw an opportunity, two distracted, vulnerable creatures, as she used her strength to get what she wanted. This story serves as a powerful metaphor. The rabbit represents the naive or careless person who assumes the world is fair and that their rights will automatically be respected. His mistake wasn't just leaving the door unlocked. It was his innocent belief that simply stating the facts would be enough to get his home back. The weasel is the opportunist. He doesn't care about right or wrong. He sees a chance to gain something with minimal effort and takes it, using flimsy justifications to defend his actions. And the cat? The cat represents a corrupt or self-serving power. She presents herself as a neutral arbiter, a source of justice, but in reality, she is just another player in the game, the most powerful one. She uses the conflict between the rabbit and the weasel for her own benefit. By pretending to be a judge, she lured them into a position of total vulnerability. This fable warns us to be cautious. First, protect what is yours. The rabbit's small act of forgetfulness was the catalyst for the entire tragedy. It's a reminder to be diligent and not take our security for granted. Second, be wary of who you trust to solve your problems. When you're in a dispute, it's tempting to accept help from anyone who offers it. But it's crucial to question their motives. Is this person or institution truly neutral, or do they have their own agenda? The cat's offer of help was just a trap disguised as a solution. Ultimately, the story of the rabbit, the weasel, and the cat is a cynical but realistic look at how power dynamics can play out. It shows that when you appeal to a higher power, you better be sure that power is truly just and not simply stronger and hungrier than everyone else. It's a timeless lesson about vigilance, skepticism, and the unfortunate reality that justice isn't always served, sometimes it's just eaten. Thank you so much for joining me for this story today. I hope it gave you something to think about. If you enjoyed this video and our little analysis, please hit that like button and consider subscribing for more tales and lessons from the classics. Let me know in the comments what you think the moral of this story is. See you next time.